It's My Guys in the Desert, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, Sirius 215 XM204. Interact with the show by following us on Twitter or Facebook at VSIN Live.
Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before.
Time, folks, for a weekend update. Guess who just came on in? The legendary one himself, Mr. NormMacdonald, whose stand-up comedy is on here at the Southwest. Norm, welcome to VSIN, my friend.
It's a great honor to be here with you, sir.
And you're sitting next to one of the great bookmakers.
Yes, I know who he is.
Mr. Chris. And another one over here, Vinny, my guys in the desert.
Guys in the desert. What was great when you were broadcasting is you would say there's one for the desert.
That's right.
So you actually made it a little catchphrase, whereas Al Michaels will go, well, that will be important to some people somewhere, and you go, okay, whatever. We understand.
I don't like to beat around the bush, so I'm a little bit like you in that regard. Okay. Now, I'm sure a lot of, especially your fans, know that you're from Canada.
Yes.
And you've got, I see the Canadian logo up there, and you and your brother, were you both hockey players? You play at it when you were growing up?
Yeah, everybody in Canada play hockey. We don't got no celebrities or nothing, just hockey players. And so you reach a point where your coach tells you, hey, you're just going to be a regular guy. You're just going to watch hockey from now on.
Your coach tells you go to Vegas and
yeah. My coach tells me, bet on anything but hockey.
Yeah. And Chris, as you know, hockey can be you being a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, seated next here to the Canadian fan, and the Penguins win a huge game this afternoon against Washington.
Yeah, all the money's on Washington too.
I
Which
hate
kind of
Washington.
surprised me.
Well, they knocked.
Joined the club, yeah. So
This year we had 5 Canadian teams make the playoffs, which was incredible, but 2 remain. But
by the way, I got booed by our crowd when I said the Penguins don't win the cup. I'm rooting for one of the Canadian teams to win it. They
that's nice.
They should have the cup up there.
Sure. And I love the Pens. I mean, how could you go to Washington? What kind of commie are you? That you're going to go to Washington
Don't look at
against
me.
Pittsburgh?
No.
My Lord. It's like 1972 all over again.
Norm, when you come in, I just had to think back the days of Saturday Night Live. My son, when he heard you were coming on last night, he said, Dad, he said that weekend update hasn't been the same without Norm giving it. And
That's very true of you to say, but
but now that you say it,
I would say this: the ESPYs have never been the same either. That's one of the highlights of my Norm Macdonald memories.
when I did the ESPYs, what I didn't realize, most of the crowd like me because most of the crowd are just local New Yorkers, about 95%, and then the 5% in the front are all the athletes. So the crowd liked me, but what I didn't understand was behind me, as I did the jokes on the screen, were just pictures of a scowling Ken Griffey Jr. Not the old man. I saw that.
With comedy, as Norm certainly, is such a fine line, the sensitivities that are involved. But I have to tell you, I happen to be watching, and you came on with a weekend update, and it was after the conclusion of the O.J. Simpson trial. And when you came on and said, well, it's officially legal. Murder is legal in the state of California. I'm on the floor, okay? Now, I know there was one executive at NBC who wasn't, because to this day, he still doesn't think O.J. was guilty.
No, he's buddies with O.J.
but I have to... But
and listen, maybe I'm a rusher to judge. Just as O.J. was the greatest rusher, maybe I'm the greatest rusher to judgment.
Could be. Yeah. But you know the timing of things. It's just so critical with you up on. I could never do it because I could never pull off the timing. I used to love George Carlin, and whenever I could, I would go watch him. And normally he was fantastic. But on this one night in Las Vegas, he was less than fantastic. Okay, he was trying, Norm. He was trying new material, and it just was not going over well.
And he didn't have great respect for Las Vegas audiences either.
No, not at all. He abused us throughout the night. Okay.
He had a lot of respect for the race and sports book, though.
Is that right?
Well, he would come down and see us. He'd have his little puppy with him. He'd come down and he'd have his. And so he came to the counter one time, and the writer said, "Oh, you probably want to bet all the dogs." He looked at him and said, "Give me." He went down through every favorite, and he just went down. He said, "No." And then I want to go. All right, now I want to go and bet the Greyhounds. I'm like, okay, all right, you can do that too if you want. But he came when he was performing there. He came by the book.
Whenever I bet the Greyhounds, I'll always bet a dog. I don't know.
Good, Norm.
Sense.
Perfect.
But Mr. Musburger.
Yes, sir.
People that you've worked with, and if you're in now, listen. You were on TV for years with a guy called Jimmy the Greek.
Jimmy the Greek.
And which I always found odd that he was thrown out for racism. Everybody called him the Greek. But here you had a bookmaker on the program.
I did.
Which I found fascinating. But were there a lot of guys in sportscasting that developed gambling problems? Or not problems? It's fun.
You mean, yeah, exactly.
By the way, he's got another Greek bookmaker sitting right next to him.
There we go.
I was about to say, I've got
Chrissy the Greek.
He has not changed a bit in that regard. So.
Norm, it was fascinating because I'm going to be perfectly honest. I knew next to nothing. I mean, I knew you could bet on games and on point spreads, and Bob Martin was a legendary. But the Greek would always take me over to the Barbary Coast, and Michael Gunn, who owns the South Point, he was operating the Barbary over there, and Jimmy
Good
Vaccaro.
Good steak.
Best.
Yeah.
He moved Michael's from Barbary right down here to the South Point, as you know. So I said to the Greek, Greek, well, you like going over to the Barbary? I call him the Greek. Hey, Greek. It's unbelievable. He's sitting around. Greek, come on, let's go out here for have dinner.
Greek, you have to go. You're racist.
I never really thought
the most racist
when you
Greek
think about
there
it.
is.
When you think about it, he's absolutely. What do you like going to the Barbary Coast for? Hey, parlay cards. Ties win. that was why the Greek would go to the Barbary Coast, because you were the only guys that has ties win.
That's a big thing.
He knew value. Yeah. He knew value.
That's a lot of EV on the ties win.
Yeah, we still run that ties win card, and I got to make it every week, and I got to tell you, I hate that thing.
They do not. They don't
Mr. Greek doesn't like it.
No.
I remember they lost money for a while on those 10-point 3-team parlays. I don't know if they do those anymore.
We don't do those anymore. We got wised up on that.
You know where I thought I'd make all my money was they had a bet. I know a lot about golf. That's the sport I know more than the public about. So I figured, So when Tiger was at his peak, they actually had a bet Tiger against everyone. So, you'd get 150 guys if you took, and it was 1-2 it would pay. So I said, well, this looks like, it would be a sucker bet to bet on Tiger, when you it's nice to have 150 golfers at the start of the tournament. But I'd lose every time.
We talked about that. We had a heck of a run with Tiger winning every one of these tournaments. Usually we were rooting for you, though. Yeah. The world would be on Tiger.
All right. Guys, sit right here. We're going to pay some bills.
Yes,
I'm going to be right back. And this is for Norm. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, the next great comedian, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. ZipRecruiter.com. You can post it to 100-plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Maybe you want a bookmaker. Post once and watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen the candidates, rate them, hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by Fortune 100 companies and thousands of small and medium-sized businesses. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Brent. ZipRecruiter.com/Brent. And there's a special one up there. VSIN is in the market. Football guys, go up there, ZipRecruiter.com, and check in on VSIN. We're back live in just a moment.
It's My Guys in the Desert, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, Sirius 215 XM204. Interact with the show by following us on Twitter or Facebook at VSIN Live.
Someone told me long ago.
My Guys in the Desert, Chris Andrews, Vinny Mariulo, and it's a pleasure for us to be joined by Colonel Sanders. Norm MacDonald in the house, ladies and gentlemen. So how you doing moving that fried chicken?
I'm not doing it no more. They replaced me with Rob Lowe.
Did they replace you? I thought you were interchanging.
Yeah, that's what they did. They had one guy. They didn't like him. Then they got me. And then they got a little bit of press in the advertising world. And like Advertising Weekly, that they changed the colonel. So they go, we'll keep doing it. And I go, no, please. Because I was one of those gigs where it's just free money.
Yeah.
That's the only one I got.
And you get to wear a costume and all the free chicken, probably.
I ate a lot of chicken. Yeah.
Norm, the show tonight over here at the showroom in
Yes.
South Point, and it's also tomorrow night, too. We got 2 nights left.
It's tonight and tomorrow.
And what time?
Great South Point
What time
Casino.
do you say you're going to start?
At 7:30.
7:30's on the marquee.
7:30 on the marquee.
7:30.
Norm, 7:30.
That's why I told my wife we can't go Saturday night because it's going to run into the Penguin game. If they go overtime, what am I going to do? I got to stiff Norm or the
No,
Penguin.
you got to go tomorrow night.
That's
You
why
gotta
we're going tomorrow night.
Okay. I mean,
I think the wife wanted to go out on Saturday night. It's not going to happen.
You check the game schedule, then you check everything else.
We have
That's
our
what
priorities, Vinny. We've been here a long time.
That's right. See, we go. And
I see a Mets game, it reminds me of the worst beat I ever took. And maybe you remember this game. I don't know how the regular book handled it, but I know how the bookies did. I bet on it was the New York Mets, and Robin Ventura hit a grand slam.
the Grand Slam single?
The grand slam single.
I do. We get in the playoffs.
They tackled him at second base.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that game very well.
Sad. And I remember Bob Costa said, "Oh, they're not going to count those runs." And later I asked him, "Why'd you mention that?" And he was like, "Oh yeah." He said my father gambled a lot.
Did you lay the 1.5? Is that what you
No,
did?
no, I had the over.
He had the over.
Yeah, so it was the only way.
Okay.
Yeah.
The outfielders were standing at second base. Like there was very little chance there was going to be a home run. And it was just this line drive over the...
So for folks listening,
Oh, yeah,
he hit the home run over the right field wall, and then he did touch first base.
Yeah.
And then he just stopped.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't stop.
They mobbed him.
He got tackled.
All right.
Yeah.
Which is odd because these guys want their stats and stuff.
Well.
So,
That's sad.
you bet hockey, baseball, basketball?
I lost a lot betting hockey unders because they kind of increased the crease, like getting allowing people into the crease. So I'm always behind the rule. As a matter of fact, I was watching hockey the other day, and I didn't even know this. And hockey's my game that they had a guy went in for a misconduct. 5-minute penalty. They scored immediately, and they kept the penalty going.
That
Yeah,
was
they
the
used to
St. Louis.
change.
That was
That's right.
the Nashville
Predators.
St. Louis game yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can just score goal after goal after goal now.
In a major. During a
Really?
major. Yeah.
Well, I'll be dogged. When did they do that?
Yesterday.
Once they found out Norm had the under,
Norm's in the showroom.
Bettman
Norm's in
again.
the showroom. Fix that rule.
there's a vendetta that Bettman has against McDonald.
I had this great way to change a sport that
Yeah.
they did a little bit in hockey, but it was for soccer, because soccer, the dullest thing that you could ever watch, when they get to the extra minutes, they
Yes.
finish it with a ridiculous shootout, which is just plain fluke. So if you're the worst team, you want to just kill the clock until you get to this
Absolutely.
absurd shootout. So I said, why don't they keep playing and every 10 minutes take a player out? So finally you're left with 5-on-5 or something, and then it's exciting, fun.
That's not the worst idea I've ever
Do you like
It's
this?
not the worst
I mean,
idea.
look what the National Hockey League has done.
You do the
Yeah, they got
three.
playoffs.
three.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
the
God.
3-on-3 you like?
So exciting.
Yeah.
I love the 3-on-3.
I'd like to see
Yeah.
the whole game played 3-on-3. Maybe a senior circuit with 3-on-3. I'd like the senior circuit on every sport. They're doing it on basketball.
Well, football would be a kick.
Football.
I know. You see,
I think they do it on boxing, though. What do we say? Klitschko's about our
I was
age,
just
right?
going to say,
Vinny?
yeah, I know he's. Wow.
at the Super Bowl, they go, here's all the guys, the Hall of Fame from 20 years ago. A guy comes out, he looks like he's 90. They can
Yeah.
barely make it to the stage. I mean, these guys get hit bad.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy NFL football or in college?
Yeah, NFL. I grew up in Canada, so we watched the CFL. 8 teams, 2 of them named the Rough Riders. Anyway, no one ever explained that to me. But if you only had the radio, it was tough, because the announcer would be going, the Rough Riders have it at the 2-yard line. Bad news for the Rough Riders. The Rough Riders take it back. Throw. The Rough Riders have it. It's an interception. You're like, what? So, but I couldn't tell who was a good player because, they were playing against each other. So you go, well, these guys didn't make it in the NFL. Maybe they're no good at all, probably. Because they're just playing against each other. It's like watching a WNBA game. If you never saw the NBA, you'd think, oh, they're good.
Pretty good.
Better than me. But so I couldn't tell. But then Warren Moon came back. And, I watched him for years in Canada, and it turned out he was fantastic.
Yeah, he was. Great arm.
Yeah. But we had guys like where I grew up, we had a Heisman winner trophy, Tommy Clemens, and he never went to America. He went back and coached a little later, but
still with the Packers, I think, as a coach.
Oh, was
yeah.
I saw Tommy Clemens play basketball in high school.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah. I saw Kobe Bryant's father play in high school. I saw Ken Griffey Sr. play basketball in high school.
What is your centennial?
Next week.
I'm glad I'm still in college.
Jelly Bean Bryant.
Because Norm likes hockey, what are the numbers on the Pittsburgh Washington game?
Oh, can I guess
tonight?
them?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Give us a number, Norm.
Right, well, you got to give me the team.
Well, Pittsburgh at the Capitol.
Oh, that's the only game left?
Well, they're playing this afternoon.
And that's in where?
It's at Washington.
Boy, I know
5
so
o'clock
little.
game.
Well, it's Washington, and it's how do they do hockey? 1.5 minus 140.
Well, no.
Get your resume through that ZipRecruiter. We're going to look at it right away. Right.
Tell me the over under.
How much money do you have on you, Norm? I'll walk you over to the counter and I'll show you how this
I believe
works.
they will not score more than 4 points. So even if it's 4.5, I'd take the under.
Total's 5.5. So I could see Norm's going to be up the under.
Easy under. Easy money. You like free money?
Yeah, he forgot about that 5-minute penalty, though. You just keep racking up the goals. Now, we got the Caps are $1, where are we at? $1.45 favorite over the.
Well, I said 140, and you laughed at me.
No, but you had the goal and a half in there, too.
Minus 140. What?
Well, with the goal and a half line, the Penguins are a minus 250.
Oh, yes, of course. Okay. I misspoke.
Don't misspeak at the counter.
Yeah.
No, I've done that. I've raced back.
What's the price on the series now after the Penguins won game
the
1?
The Penguins, what the heck are we up to? The Penguins are $1.65 favorite for the series.
And what were the start?
At the start, the Caps were $1.25.
Huh.
So with a 1-0 lead, winning the one, obviously.
So what's the bet's the Caps then?
Well, they are betting
all.
the Caps.
Like
they are betting the Caps. If they can win tonight,
Right.
a whole new series.
Yeah. Then it goes right back.
Yeah.
Well, then you'd even have higher than the original money.
We have discussed this on the show, Brent and I. They swing way too much.
If it was minus 165 for 4 out of 7, then for 3 out of 5 it would be minus 200 or something. I mean,
If the Penguins win? It'll be much higher.
No, not if the Penguins win.
If the Caps win tonight, it'll probably be pretty close to pick 'em. Penguins will be a slight favorite. Penguins will be a slight favorite.
With the home ice.
Because of the home ice.
Yes. Right.
So the Rangers have jumped out on Ottawa, and
Big City Rangers.
So Norm,
care for them.
when you were in New York on Saturday, did you go to the Garden to watch the Rangers and the Canadiens?
I never liked the New York Rangers.
What about when the Canadiens were in
I never
town?
liked Jean Rattel.
Jean Rattel, the center.
Wow.
I figured.
But I bet you grew up like a Jean Beliveau.
Oh, Beliveau! Yeah. Oh my God. I saw Lemaire take a shot from the red line once they took the goalie's glove off. I'm not kidding you. They didn't have good gloves back then like they do now. But I will say that.
I started getting into hockey with the great those Lafleur teams.
Oh, yeah.
Those were,
Yeah.
Bob Gainey and
wait a minute. The
Bowman was
Lafleur teams, you must have been 60.
Yeah, I was just starting Social Security at the time, so I had plenty extra money, and I would go to the Penguin games.
How about NASCAR? Norm?
Yvonne Cornway was my
Yvonne
favorite.
Cornway.
Oh,
The
Cornway.
Roadrunner.
The Roadrunner, right? The Roadrunner. Yep.
How about NASCAR? You ever play it?
NASCAR, yes. I've bet it, but I just ask people. In some sports, I just ask other people. I don't know anything about NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, anyway, tomorrow they're at Richmond. Kyle Busch, lives right here, grew up here in Las Vegas, 11-2. You've got him tomorrow in the race. He's pretty good on that track.
He's pretty good.
Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, both 7-1. They're the three favorites tomorrow.
Three chalks, and
Are they on the same team?
I don't know.
Oh. Shouldn't you know that? Making a bit.
You would think, but I don't. I'm still reminiscing about Kobe Bryant's dad playing high school basketball. Guy Lafleur.
Wait, how many guys race in these?
43.
Good Lord, so 7-1. Wow. I had no idea a guy was that such a prohibitive favorite in such a large field. It appears to me that things could go wrong.
Speaking
Yes,
of
they
favorites,
can.
do you enjoy boxing?
Oh yeah.
So tonight, Vladimir Klitschko against Anthony Joshua over in London.
Right.
Joshua about a 240, 2.5 to 1 favorite over Klitschko.
Yeah. What's the over under for knockout?
What is it? 8.5?
Something like that.
Yeah, about 8.5.
By the way, they
rounds.
go in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, they do really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in London.
It's
They're in
London,
London, 2 o'clock our time. So
Oh, that's
They
interesting.
go off at 2 o'clock. Tomorrow, NBA. Chris, we haven't mentioned no NBA games today, but there
That's
are 2
weird.
tomorrow. It is very weird. Norm. There's a game 1 tomorrow. The Boston Celtics play Washington, and then the game 7 in Los Angeles will be the Clippers and the Utah Jazz. What do we have on them?
I'm using the Clippers minus 3.5. So far, not really much business on that game. And Celtics are opening 4.5 over the Wizards in game 1.
Okay, and so
Really?
tonight, don't forget, when tomorrow night,
Where does your heart go, Brent, with all the storylines going on this year?
I just embrace them all.
It's hard not to hope for. I mean, I was kind of heartbroken when Boston lost that first game.
Yeah. And
It was sad, hard to watch.
it was because of what had gone on with Isaiah Thomas,
Yeah.
so you're
And
kind
the
of
rest of
pulling
the
for
team
them.
didn't
Anyway.
seem to. Go ahead.
All right. No, I want to
There's
remind
no
everybody,
place for heart.
it's 7:30 tonight, right, in the showroom. Norm Macdonald here at the South Point. So long. VSIN continues with Jonathan Von Tobel.